The scoreboard at McKinley High in Youngstown, Ohio, still read 28-27, with 0 minutes and 0 seconds left when the lights went dark. Not the dramatic flick of a switch, just the hum of the old transformers giving up one by one, like an old man sighing his last breath. November 14th, 2025. Division 3 Regional Semi-Final. The Steelers from Youngstown had just punched in a touchdown on 4th and goal to beat Massillon for the first time in 23 years. The band was halfway through the fight song. Kids were rushing the field. And then everything went black. Coach Danny Moretti stood on the sideline in his red hoodie, soaked from the cold rain that had been falling since kickoff. 47 years old, divorced, living in the same split level his parents bought in 1978. He'd coached these kids since they were in middle school, back when his own son, Luke, was still alive to run routes in the backyard. Luke would have been a senior this year. Danny's headset crackled once, then died. No refs, no chain crew, no PA announcer telling everyone to stay calm. Just 6,000 people suddenly realizing the power wasn't coming back on. Not tonight. Maybe not for a long time. The rumors had been floating for weeks. Rolling blackouts, grid strain, some cyber thing nobody in eastern Ohio could pronounce. But Friday night lights were sacred. They'd played through worse. Now the field was lit only by phone screens and a half moon. Players stood in clumps, helmets off, looking smaller than they had 10 minutes ago. Parents in the stands clutched each other. Someone started singing the alma mater a cappella, voice cracking. Danny felt a tug on his sleeve. It was Malik Washington, senior quarterback, 6 feet 2 inches, 185 pounds. The kid who'd just thrown the game winner to his little brother Jalen in the corner of the end zone. Malik's eyes were wide. "Coach," he whispered, "my mom's insulin is in the fridge at home. 776. Danny's stomach dropped. He knew the Washingtons lived in the apartments off Market, the ones that never had working heat. He knew Mrs. Washington had been rationing vials since the pharmacy started running low in October. Across the field, the Massillon kids weren't celebrating their loss. They were hugging their own parents, scared of the same dark. Danny climbed up on the bench, the same splintered wooden bench his own dad had sat on in 1976 when Danny was the water boy. He cupped his hands. "Hey." His voice carried farther than he expected in the sudden quiet. "Steelers on me. Tigers. You too. Everybody." 6,000 people went still. He looked at Malik, then at Jalen, then at the Massillon quarterback, whose name he didn't even know, but whose dad had served with Luke in Kandahar. Same unit. Same IED that took Luke's legs first, and then the rest of him 3 days later in Germany. "Listen," Danny said. "We just played the best damn game this field's ever seen, and the lights went out. That's it. That's all that happened. The world's still here in the morning, but tonight, nobody goes home alone." He pointed toward the access road where the team buses idled, generators growling. "Massillon, your buses got heat. Our locker room's got a backup Jenny and a fridge that'll keep medicine cold for 12, maybe 15 hours. Anybody who needs it. Insulin, oxygen, whatever. Come with us. Parents, kids. Doesn't matter what colors you're wearing." A woman in the front row started sobbing. Not the happy kind. Danny kept going. "We got cots. We got blankets. We got that god-awful concession stand chili nobody ever finishes. We're not fixing the country tonight, but we're not leaving anybody in the dark." For a second, nobody moved. Then Malik took one step forward, then another. until he was standing next to Danny. He turned to his own sideline. "Y'all heard coach, let's go." And just like that, two teams that had spent 3 hours trying to kill each other started walking together toward the brick locker room that smelled like sweat and bleach. And 1973, phones became flashlights. Rival cheerleaders linked arms. Somebody found an old battery radio and got 97.1, the Wolf out of Akron playing low. Springsteen singing The Rising. Because of course it was. Danny stayed on the bench a minute longer, watching them go. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the folded piece of paper he'd carried to every game since 2019. Luke's last letter home, the one that ended, "Tell the kids to play hard, Dad. Tell 'em the lights always come back on." He looked up at the dead scoreboard, then at the river of people moving together through the dark. "Not always, buddy," he whispered, "but we got each other tonight." Then he hopped down and followed his kids inside. The door closed behind the last person, just as the rain turned to sleet. Out on the field, the scoreboard stayed frozen at 28-27 forever. But inside, the lights, little emergency bulbs and phone screens, and one stubborn string of Christmas lights somebody had left up since last December, burned steady until morning. And nobody spent